As I was doing this video here in this cluster of 3 towns in southeastern South Dakota, I came onto my first town, which is Gayville, and this is a pretty neat town. And as I was walking around, kind of noticing different things, I noticed this church here. And I thought, man, this is a really cool church. Saw the steeple, old wooden structure, so forth. Little Methodist church here, and just on the outskirts of Gayville. 394 is about the population. And it's not too far really from the downtown, which is, I'd say maybe a block or so the other direction. Well, they have these neat buildings downtown. You can tell this is like a typical small Midwest small town centered around agriculture. And this looks like it's known as the hay capital of the world. I thought that was pretty fascinating. So we kind of look around. Got the hay shed that's here. We're in the world of hay. That old bank building across the street just really struck my attention. What a neat looking building. Looks like they got an old-time music hall here. The 25th season. They must have concerts and so forth downtown here. It's neat they have this. I tell you, for a small town like this, I thought this is a pretty interesting place. Cars buzzing around, a lot busier than I thought it would be on a Saturday morning here, so gotta be a little sleepy. Well, we made it to our next Midwest small town. This is Volin, South Dakota, population 158. And I thought there was really cool structures around here, including this bank that's around the corner. I'll get some footage of downtown, show you little other parts of the town. But this is what I love about small towns like Volin, where you get this classic style old bank or some of the old buildings downtown, and we'll get some of those. Back in old times, they used to have these places called town squares. I feel like these billboards or these little note boards as far as notices of what's going on in town kind of replaced those. Town squares used to be the place where everyone would kind of gather and meet, have the news and what's going on, anything local. Here's the Volin post office. I had to stop and talk with the postmaster. I said, hey, quick question as we look at a place like Volin. How do you pronounce it? Is it Volin or Volin? He goes, it's Volin. Probably my biggest thing. I want to make sure I'm always pronouncing my towns right. Look at this really cool town hall that they have in downtown Volin. Kind of heading down the main street here. They got a street light right in the middle of the road. Well, I had one last thing that really struck my attention. This is Vollen Lutheran Church, 1908. That's kind of standing behind me here. Looks like it's kind of in disrepair. No longer. Tree in front of it. But Vollen's a pretty cool town. I said what? Population 158. And I'm kind of putting this video out actually almost as a counter to some other videos I see where people are kind of making fun of some small towns, saying they're run down, they're becoming a ghost town. Vollen's not a ghost town. It's not becoming a ghost town. In fact, it's right in between Vermilion, South Dakota and Yankton, South Dakota. There's a lot of great people that are living here and so forth. Some are even fixing up some properties that are next door that I thought was pretty cool. But this church just really struck me. It kind of reminds me of some other places that I've been where the churches are kind of running down and so forth. But a lot of neat historical buildings here in Vollen, South Dakota. You got the bank building, you got the, what was it, the city hall area, or the main like banquet area that they have downtown. Of course, then they have some old churches and so forth. But we're gonna be heading to our next town. We're just doing a cluster of small towns in southeastern South Dakota before we go to Vermilion, South Dakota. We'll kind of end our video there, but let's go to our next town. Well, we made it to our last cluster of small towns here. This is Mission Hill, population 164. As you come into town, you come up to the cemetery, which is right to your right. And of course, this one really stuck out to me. I thought, wow, this is a huge memorial, or in memory, looks like, of Reverend D.B. Nickel, founder of the Mission Hill Congregational Church. So if you kind of look at how old and how big of a deal that is, to have that type of gravestone or monument here in the cemetery. He was a big historical figure here. I don't know much about it. I just kind of struck my interest. Right next door to the Baptist church, that also stuck out to me. I just love that color of brick. It stuck out. You know, these small towns that I've been in, you know, around 300 or less, and of course, now we're under 200 at 164 at Mission Hill. This is home for me. This is only about 2 hours from where I grew up. And so when you go into these small towns, and of course, when you see the sign of Mission Hill, you're home here. And you feel home at small towns like this. And I just love it. I love the quietness. I love the peacefulness. I love the fact that they have a strong faith element to it with churches that are welcoming. And that is what I love. I'm not done here with Mission Hill. I'm going to just kind of drive around town and see more to do here. And we'll wrap up this video. We're going to head back to Vermilion, South Dakota, home of USD, better known as the University of South Dakota. So we'll go there next. These ducks are like completely fearless of my presence here at the park. I thought I'd get some really good footage of them kind of going into the pond. They're like, wait, do you have food? Do you have breadcrumbs or something? Because we think you do, and so we're coming to say hi to you. I thought that was pretty cool. Mission Hill, South Dakota. You know, before I left town and before heading back to Vermilion, I had to stop at this roadside park. I don't know the name of it. I'll see if I can find it and put it in the description below. But this is such a peaceful, nice addition to a small town, what we call a village, right? Less than 200. And this is just really awesome. So living in a small town, I say it over and over and over again, but this is why I do what I do. I was hoping to talk to some locals. I saw one driving by to see the ducks, waved at me and kept on driving by. We also have, looks like we have this grain elevator that's next to us here behind us. I'm gonna get a little shot of that, and then we're gonna keep on heading down the road. But Mission Hill, and of course all the Vollen, which is right next door, and the cluster of small towns that we're doing in this video, they all kind of feel the same. It's quiet, it's peaceful. They have, of course, some of those old buildings. One of them, though, by the way, looked like it was the old schoolhouse and that they were building and making it into a house. And so there's an idea for you too. So some of these old buildings aren't just going away. And this is Mission Hill. Let's head off to Vermilion. Well, we're wrapping up our small town little side tour of our 3 towns that we kind of visited today, right here on the campus of the University of South Dakota. This is Old Main behind me. Thought I'd just kind of walk around campus, just kind of wrap up this video. Small towns, love them. Of course, in the course of the day, we saw Gayville, Vollen, and Mission Hill. 3 fantastic little Midwest small towns. And of course, Vermilion right down the road. University campus. This is a beautiful campus here in Vermilion, and actually Vermilion even fits in that small town scale. It's a little less than 12,000, so we're about 11,000, just a little shade above it. And Vermilion is also a great town. Don't want to do really a big video on that today, but just at least wanted to end up where we started this morning. So, as I always say on this channel, go small, come home. This is Midwest Small Town.